Hi class, this is my presentation on my school library observations for the fall 2020 semester. And I interviewed Moira Joyce, who has been a librarian for 15 years at Blueberry Hill Elementary School in Longmeadow, Claudia Palferman, who has been a librarian for 10 years at DuPont Middle School in Chicopee, which is considered an urban school, and Lisa Lamoth, who is a 6-year librarian at Tantascwa Regional Senior High School in Fiskdale. I also worked as the library assistant at Tantascwa Regional Senior High School since August of this year, so I do have some more physical observation experience with that school as opposed to Blueberry Hill and DuPont, but I did certainly get a great wealth of information from all three of the schools. And as far as the teacher as a collaborative partner, all of the teachers really did collaborate this year, especially with the emergence of COVID-19 to bring faculty up to date with everything that they would need to successfully teach. So Lisa did this by offering, during her professional development time, she would teach teachers how to use things such as webcams and screencasting in Google Classroom for their classes. And Moira Joyce offers online links based on curriculum that teachers can use within their classrooms, from anything from Winter Olympics to how a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, can be found within the library catalog, and they're just open for them to use. And Pelferman often assists with research projects in the classroom, and especially right now on Zoom. And I did cite an article from our readings in class that said effective partnerships are crucial to student success, and I definitely think that this is something that all three librarians accomplished as collaborative partners this year. As far as the school librarian's role in reading, Lisa Lamoth offers an avid readers course within the library where students come into the library for an entire block and read a book of their choice, whether it be fiction or nonfiction. And this certainly, having the time to read in school, promotes reading for students overall. Uh, Palferman encourages students to read what interests them. So she did tell me during our interview that a lot of teachers do tell students that they should only read what is set for their grade level or their personal reading level, and Palferman disagrees and encourages students to pick any book that they'd like while they're in the library, and she did say that this results in fostering a real love of reading. And Joyce implements an annual summer reading program in collaboration with the PTO at Blueberry Hill. PTO will fund the purchase of a book for every student who wishes to participate in the summer reading program. And Longmeadow has a wealth of local authors, and Joyce will bring them in often to collaborate, and it draws a lot of interest from students to know that the author is also directly involved. So it's certainly a good way to promote reading. And as far as teaching multiple literacies, I did cite an article that said students want to use new technology. And that's something I think that each of the librarians I interviewed took to heart this year. So Joyce introduces her younger students to Google Suites as it's the preferred learning method across the school. And I definitely found that all three of the schools I interviewed utilize Google Suites as well. So it's a very useful tool for them. And so she will work with each student depending on what their knowledge is of Google Suites to make sure that they have a good standing knowledge of it. Lamoth maintains a relationship with the IT department, so much so that their office is actually attached to the library. So just to go over what the emerging technologies are and what might be best for students, she definitely consults with them as well to make sure that those things are available. And additionally, she does provide fake news resources for students to use through the library website. And Palferman told me that she'll always start at the beginner's level when teaching her research projects. So she will start all students at the most simplistic level and make adjustments as needed. So she doesn't make all students work at the same level at the same time, but she will make adjustments to it if necessary. And for evidence of the practice of inquiry-based learning, Joyce is typically working with young students as an elementary librarian. So it is part of the Massachusetts curriculum to teach students to use a library. So she will give a brief tour of the library and a brief explanation, but otherwise, she allows her students to select any materials that they would like and explore on their own and ask questions about any processes in the library and basically look for their own materials on any subject they're interested in. And Palferman displays books and makes displays that promote the classroom curriculum. For example, she puts together a display every year for the required reading material, Tuck Everlasting, and allows for students to explore more materials that are similar and to inquire further into that material and that subject and genre. And Lamothe offers Noodle Tools as part of the library and funds a membership to that. And what Noodle Tools is, if you haven't heard of it, it is a resource for students to organize all of their research that they find, and it certainly has been proven to be a strong supporter of inquiry-based learning. And for evidence of assessment and evaluation, Joyce and Palferman both promote a lot of verbal feedback so certainly not something that's graded or anything, but just either through book talks or through just talking to their students and listening to their feedback and making adjustments to lessons as needed. They just really listen to students. And something that Lamothe does that blurs the line of formative and summative assessment to me personally is during her avid reading course, she does have students complete journal entries based on their readings. So they critique the book, they go over any questions they had about the book or any words they didn't know, and they overall just give their opinions. And this is something that's not graded based on content, but graded on participation, and it does seem to promote a lot of good feedback in regard to the class. And for the librarian's role for creating the learning environment, both physically and digitally, this really changed this year. The physical library space took a backseat to the digital space, and I did cite an article from School Library Journal that was published at the height of the pandemic that basically the underlying main concept was ask students how they are. And Lamothe promoted this within her classes by, ungraded of course, asking students to write down their feelings and responding to anonymous survey results to see how the students are feeling overall about the pandemic and about other stressors in life. And they were welcome to talk about that if they were comfortable, and Lamothe was there to provide further resources like access to a counselor if needed. In a normal year, Palferman will make the library more accessible. So, for example, she'll casually let students know that she'll be available at the library for an extra hour after school. And she said that this generally will promote more students who may have no access to necessary things for their homework, such as the internet or research tools. It definitely helps them to have better access, and it makes the library a little more equitable. And as far as physical space, Joyce certainly attempts this with furniture placement. So she encourages a lot of socialization in her library by having things like bleacher seating, as the library used to be a gym and it's been converted. So they still have the bleachers, and she promotes a lot of student discussion and a lot of bonding with students. And as far as the librarian's role as a program administrator and leader, so all of the librarians I spoke to meet with different administration in some way or form. So what they would do is they would either speak with administrators or advocate for themselves around the school. That's something that Joyce said that she certainly does a lot. She's always promoting her role in the school and defending it in a way. Um, I know at Tantasqua, the principal will take statistics that are logged by the library to the school committee to promote the budget and to promote the continued funding of the school library. And Palferman is personally involved in several different professional development groups and teaching advocacy groups locally. So certainly a lot of evidence of program administration and leadership among all three librarians. So in conclusion, challenges will always be present. So there were certainly a lot of different challenges brought on by the pandemic this year, but I think librarians, especially school librarians, will always face challenges, whether that's to the budget or to frequently having to defend their role or changing technologies. I think challenges are always going to be present. And of course, observation and collaboration are essential. So a lot of the topics that were touched upon in my paper, they rely on collaborating with other people and bringing other faculty members into the mix and bringing together a lot of different expertise, and even working with other school librarians is necessary. And I think reading literature, observing what other librarians are doing, and collaborating with others will always be important to the library's development. 3 things I learned. Collaboration is key, of course. Librarianship goes beyond the library, such as advocating and continuing to think about the library and how it could be even better, even once you lock up the door for the day. And while technology is important, reading is too. So I've, of course, with all of the learning I do, and of course everyone in this class I'm sure can agree, we have a lot of emphasis on technology and its importance, which is of course very necessary. But I found it interesting that when I asked each librarian what they thought the most important role of being a librarian is, just about all of them spoke to reading. So I think it's interesting that reading is still seen as just as important, and I totally approve of it. And 2 things I found interesting, the uniqueness of each library and its processes. So being on different grade levels, being in different areas, each librarian has different things that work best for them, and I loved seeing the way that they adapt their processes to what their library needs. That was definitely interesting. And how libraries adapted to COVID procedures. So, for example, DuPont Middle School was completely closed while Tantasqua was quarantining books and spacing out desks so that students were 6 feet apart but could still hang out in the library. I thought that was interesting. And one question I have continued to have is, why are there less traditionally written policies? So I'd be curious to find out some of the different reasons why librarians in the school setting have not created mission statements or collection development policies or things like that, because uh, those documents just weren't present in any of the libraries that I spoke with. So I'd love to learn more about maybe why. I know we've talked about that in class a little bit. It could be a time restraint or something like that, but I would be interested to speak with more librarians and see specifically why that's the case. Okay, and thank you.